430 goes down.
It's a back.
Back up for the back.
Yep.
What is that?
It's long. All equipment.
Right, yeah, all the equipment. Right on. I guess it's in the equipment. It's at 428.
Yeah.
However,
Yeah. We 428 every month. What's the primary?
Yeah.
Keep them on.
428.
Yeah.
Came in late. Some came in late, so I don't know.
All righty, I'll have 7 o'clock. Call this meeting over and we're going to do the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with justice for all.
Mr. Boring.
Here.
Mr. Mason.
Here. Minutes are quite lengthy from the last meeting. If anybody would like to see them, you're more welcome. You can get a copy. But with that, I'd like to dispense with the reading of the minutes so we can continue on with the meeting.
All those in favor?
All right. All right. So we're going to conduct this meeting a little different than what we've conducted some of them in the past because we've got such a large group. We're going to hold public comment till the end so we can try to get some business done and taken care of in a timely manner. But anybody that wants to speak is more welcome to speak at the end once we get done at the end of our meeting.
As a test.
This is a test?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a Monday
All right.
night test.
All right. I just wanted to make sure before we
Yeah, it's
went
Monday.
any further. Okay. At the last meeting, I had brought up this House Bill 377 that they had just passed. Done a lot of research on this since the last meeting to see if it was feasible for us, to do this and basically keep things the way it has been since the conception of the EMS. That the township does the administrative side of it. Little Hawk and Fire and EMS does the business side of it as far as running the whole program. And everything that I have come up with, it is money if we do it that way. Nothing's going to change as far as the way things have run in the past with the EMS. It's all still going to run the same. It's just we'll keep the administrative side like has been since it started. If we do that, and Mrs. Smith has worked hard over the past month to get these figures together, if we do that and we keep it as a township and administrate the money, we're going to save $27,609.08. Than if we privatize. So I guess I'll open that up to Dan and Ace.
Well, all the studies I've done, all the questions I've asked about,
sorry, could you have a microphone? We can't hear you.
Hear me now? Okay. What I have studied on this and what I have tried to find out, and with all the work that we have done on this issue, you gotta remember, this was just past the 20th of September, so we've had to do some research, we've had to talk to our legislators. And if we do this according to House Bill 377, everything will be the same with a couple of exceptions. Everybody will get paid. They'll get paid the amount they asked for. Everything will be paid by Belpre Township, all the utilities, all the expenses. We'll take care of all the bills, we'll take care of all the billing, we'll take care of payroll, everything that's been suggested and more. There'll be more for the fire department than what there is right today, because all the firemen will be paid, all the EMTs will be paid, and they will have a pension. They will get a pension fund. I don't see how anybody could object to getting everything you asked for, plus more, and you still run it the same way you ran it for years. 59 years, I believe, we have been here in this area. I think everybody's done a darn good job. I think we got a heck of a fire department. I worked half of my life helping to build this fire department, and I'm pretty proud of it. Even though we've argued and fussed and fought, I'm pretty proud of the people that's working here and running this stuff. And that's the way I feel about it. Anything to say, Dan?
Yeah. How did the pension come in? I did not. Through Ubers? Okay, so that will go get that. The 27,609 of savings, is that counting what we're going to pay the fire department people?
This is just EMS.
Just the EMS?
That's all we're discussing, is EMS. We haven't even talked anything about fire yet with these guys anyway.
Okay.
What little bit we have talked about, we've kind of put on the back burner till we got this taken care of.
Because what I've got here.
This is just EMS cost, Dan. If you look here at the top, it spells it out pretty plain.
Right. Because I just gotten this afternoon. That I hadn't known about these here. Because I had taken this as what these expenses all are is they're everything. If it privatized, that it would be for the fire and EMS, because under their system, the fire department people are not getting compensated. What we save here, we're going to pay on the other side, but I had not seen this until this afternoon.
Now, wait a minute, you just said that the fire side's not gonna get compensated
From what they had
if we
proposed,
privatize?
the individual for labor.
I think I got an email today that stated that they want $35,000.
That's for
Fire.
expenses.
Yeah.
That's
fire.
for insurance, workers' comp, maintenance.
I'm not discussing fire right now, I'm discussing EMS. This is the issue we have at hand, this is the issue we need to get taken care of.
think they all go hand in hand. I think they're both together. That how we separate one, and then I don't think we have to go with both. I think it's a turnkey situation here.
So am I getting from you, correct me if I'm wrong, for you, it's okay to pay the EMS guys, but not pay the fire department guys? Is that what you're saying, Dan?
Well, that's what I don't know about on this, on what the backside's.
This is just EMS, that's all we're talking about. We're still gonna have a fire side that we're gonna have to talk about. But kind of the way that you're saying is that you don't wanna pay the fire department guys, but you wanna pay the EMS guys.
No, that's not what I'm coming up. I'm coming up with what the contracts that we have been sent. And what they're coming. I guess this kind of, I don't understand all of this. Like I said, I didn't get it till afternoon today. I thought this was for everything. I didn't know it was only EMS.
EMS.
So what's the additional cost, the expenses a year, I guess, down here, the 35,192? That's all it is. Okay.
That's insurance.
Mr. Chairman, may I address the board?
Yes.
Good evening, Joe Durham, on behalf of Little Hockey Services, Hockey Volunteer Fire Company. You hear me now? Maybe? There you go. So this is my fourth time in front of the board. We have spent months negotiating these contracts. Your council has spent an enormous amount of time over the last month putting these agreements together. It was my understanding that negotiations were closed and that the trustees were going to vote on the approval of an agreement with Little Hocking Emergency Services and the two accompanying leases, and the agreement with the Little Hocking Volunteer Fire Company and the two accompanying leases. We have also seen multiple versions of the mutual aid agreements, which I think would come next. You mentioned the budget for the fire that was proposed, and I think it would be the only item that would be left for the board to address that. And I would ask that you put that to a vote.
Well, with no motion, we're gonna proceed on. All right. So I agree with Asa, and I've said it more than once. We got the best guys in Ohio, in West Virginia. I deal with a lot of volunteer fire departments. We've got top-notch staff. We've got top-notch equipment. We want to keep it that way. We don't want to change anything as far as that goes. There's been a lot of misconception out there that we was trying to get rid of them. We're not trying to get rid of them at all. When they come to us, basically 2 years ago, give or take, they was having trouble getting people to run the daytime shifts. And they said they need to hire some new employees to cover the daytime shift, and they would take care of the night. As time has progressed, we've changed things. They've changed things. We've been back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. This House bill come about, and I believe that there was a reason why. I mean, I guess I can't talk about my faith here because it's a public meeting, but just the way it is, there's a reason why we never come to an agreement in a contract. And this House bill took effect in 27th of September. When you look at the whole scheme of it, or not scheme, I should say. The big picture, we're elected to do the best job that we can for the township. And if we can keep the same coverage that we've had, actually, you're gonna have better coverage because there'll be somebody at the station 24/7 now. And we're gonna save the taxpayers $27,000. They're still gonna run everything just like they've done in the past. We're just gonna handle the administrative side like we've done in the past and the way it's been handled for years. So that's kind of where I'm at. That's where I feel that, my opinion, I appreciate all the hard work everybody's put into this, not just you guys, but them. I mean, countless hours, all of us have spent on this. But our job, when it comes down to it, we're responsible for the money of the taxpayers. And if we can save the taxpayers $27,000 for the year, I think that's what we need to try to do.
I've got one more thing to say. This House bill was pretty much a surprise to us. We didn't know this was coming about. When I got my township magazine and read that, that shows me that there's a lot of fire departments and EMS companies in the state of Ohio who are having a lot of trouble getting volunteers. That's what this was started out to be, was to hire some help. Because they didn't have enough help to make the runs, especially in the daytime. Most of the guys were working day shifts and they didn't have the help. This was started out to be a helpful manner to hire some people to cover the day shift. Then it expanded to 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and I like that. There's a little bit about it I don't like, but I don't really vote against that. I got outvoted, but that's the way it is. But that was the original intent of this, was to get some help. And it just kind of grew and grew and grew.
I think the $27,000 in savings will soon shrink, because we're not going to be having 30 people on our payroll, and it's more than just writing checks. Their employees, we're going to have responsibilities for them, their actions, everything that goes on. That's going to be more that we're going to have to do. We'll probably have to get a human resource manager if the chief or whoever administrator. That's going to be more expensive than, I think, the $5,500 that was allotted in there. I think the $27,000 in savings will soon shrink and possibly end up costing us more. Plus, I'm afraid we're going to start micromanaging the fire department and EMS if we're worried about hours, people going into overtime, where they work, if they're on the EMS or if they are on the fire department side. Because when they do switch, they do get paid at least minimum wage when they are on the fire department side. The savings is nice. We always need to save, but I don't know how long that'll last. I personally would like to privatize, and if that doesn't work out in the year they don't, the EMS and the fire department don't like it, this may be a good option. I think the $27,000 will soon shrink.
All right.
Done, Dan?
I believe so.
I'm gonna make a motion that we run the department along the guidelines of House Bill 377. Give the fire department and the EMS people everything they've asked for, plus more. They can still manage the department exactly like they've been doing it the past 50-some years. I don't know anybody that wants to do the micromanaging. As far as the billing, the payroll, Paula has already said she'll take care of that. If we have to use the money that we put in there to hire somebody to manage the scheduling, we will do that.
Hey, can the fire department respond, like us as fire department members?
I've got a motion on.
I know, but you didn't give us an opportunity prior to that. Is that something that you'd be interested in doing? Because, I mean, it affects all 28 of us. Well, this is supposed to be part
Normally,
of
Josh, once
this
you have a
budget.
motion in a second, then you have
Okay,
to.
well, you can retract it.
Do what?
You can retract your motion
No.
until we're done.
Robert rules. You have a motion in a second, then you have a discussion.
Okay.
And then you vote.
So I'm gonna second that motion.
Now we
And
have.
we can open it up for discussion. If one representative from fire department would like to talk. We'll let you.
I'll go ahead and speak first.
Okay.
So we appreciate the fact that you guys are considering other options to try to do the best thing for us. I haven't heard that a lot, honestly, in the last 2 years, but it's refreshing because when we're out there working hard to serve the community, we do need help. We need help from our elected leaders. What's that? Everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I see no proof. Because we need help from our elected leaders, right? We need people to come alongside of us and say, hey, how can we help you? Right? About 18 months ago, after the levy passed, we were informed that we needed to privatize this operation. For a variety of risk reasons, a lot of that came as recommendations from the Township Legal Counsel. That they said we were informed. And it had to do with Oprah's risk, part-time employees suing down the road for full-time benefits, things of that nature. At the time, they just had an accident in Reno where unfortunately some bystanders got killed by a tanker. So there was some liability challenges at play. And our membership has worked hard, very hard, over the last 18 months to figure out a way to navigate all of the laws of the state of Ohio, some that nobody was aware of, right? We kind of discovered as we went along the way of privatization, to find a solution that would be legal, it would protect our members from a liability standpoint, and it would be sustainable long-term for this community. And that's come to a culmination over the last month where we finally finished the hard work of a lot of people, our legal counsel, Township's legal counsel, Josh and I, to put contracts and lease agreements and mutual aid agreements in place to achieve exactly the end that we were directed to pursue. Our membership's pretty well exhausted, and so are our families. All right? We've had to endure a lot, and we do it because of the passion we have for the community and for helping others. So our fire department, if the path is not to pursue privatization as we've been driven to do, our fire department stands ready to support what you're proposing. But we have a lot of questions, and we have some concerns, and we have some conditions. And they're all based on things that we have learned through this process, things that we have discovered about what Fair Labor Standards Act and the state of Ohio law says. We have concerns both financially, Dan mentioned that, and also structurally. The comments I heard is This will operate as it's always operated. I've only been here 7 years, right? I know I'm a relative newcomer. And I love this area. This is my home. This is where my family and I plant our roots. But one of the things that we discovered when we started into this is there really wasn't any sort of legal structure in place at the township level to really deal with how our fire department should be managed. It was all managed out of the procedures and the management practices and the written governance that exists with the Little Hocking Fire and Rescue Association, which is a private fundraising entity. And that creates issues for us being covered by statutory immunity under the state of Ohio law. Now, maybe if something happens and I get taken to court, maybe I can win that case. Maybe not. You know what? I don't even want to get there. So there are some fundamental issues that need to be addressed for our membership to get on board with what is being proposed tonight. In this document that we will hand out to everyone, including the trustees, it highlights the reasons we were told to privatize. It highlights some of the benefits that we discovered along the way to privatization. At first, it seemed pretty frustrating, but you know what? There were some good things in there that came out of that. And it also highlights the questions and the conditions and the concerns that we have to both protecting our membership and protecting this community by giving them a long-term, sustainable fire and EMS solution. We would love to engage in that, but as I mentioned, we're pretty darn exhausted. So, as of December 5th at 11:59 p.m., if the private contract isn't accepted, or if a complete public solution isn't offered that addresses the conditions and the concerns we have, all 28 of our members will resign our positions on this fire department. Because we're wore out. We're wore out of the shifting priorities. We're wore out of the changing landscape. Doing what we do with full-time jobs and families is hard enough. We're tired. And it's not a decision that we came to easily. It hurts.
I guess while you're typing this out, we're gonna read this before we go any further.
While you're reading, I'm going to address something that I think is incorrect. You've indicated that privatization was advised by the township's legal counsel, and I don't believe that's accurate.
We were told that it was.
Well, there may have been a variety of issues that were raised in terms of the employment relationships that would have to be addressed, but neither Prosecutor Coyle nor myself ever mandated, recommended, or suggested privatization in the first instance. I'm not sure where that originated, but it was not with the Washington County Prosecutor. I don't know that that makes that much difference, but I do want to clarify that.
Thank you. Thank you, Alex. Did not originate with us either.
Hey Kurt, can I speak?
Yeah.
Now, I'd like to ask if it'd be appropriate to have the public comment now before you guys decide to vote on this. They won't have any input if you don't do it.
To talk about their demands or.
Talking about personnel, yes, you can vote to go into executive session to discuss personnel. You have legal objection to offer.
Consider the employment or termination of an employee, not the resignation.
I think it's personnel.
Here's our legal.
Appointment, employment, dismissal, promotion, promotion. I'll listen to your.
Yeah, I'm not going to agree or advise the board whether or not they're going to.
Are you, well, I can't promise how that's gonna turn out. I believe that the law provides that you can go into executive session to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official.
Can I talk to you?
Yeah, you can go into executive session to talk to your attorney about a contract.
No, I don't.
No.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Well, you have to go.
I can do that.
You can talk to me, yeah.
We've had 3 meetings and we brought it up in one.
Last meeting. I couldn't bring it up before that because I didn't know.
And you know what? We'll support it, as said. If there are issues,
Oh, I agree.
it's gotta be right for you.
I agree.
It's gotta be right.
We haven't even seen the budget that you're talking about. We're just talking about chasing.
We spent so many hours dealing with this. We're just done flushing out. Just,
Right. We all.
I mean, we're talking the shell game here because nobody can do it cheaper than this. Without, you take the pension out, you still get this. I don't know where 27,000. I haven't seen the document.
Hey, it is.
May I have a copy?
Right, that's what you can't use. So, my question to that is, how do you get a savings if you don't have a cost?
How much money you guys want?
We figured to run a little slice surplus, remember? Which
Right,
could
that's
accumulate.
the carryover that you can grab. And that's what I'm saying about the sales meeting. Some of the questions we have are that for the same employees, when you have to pay us on the fire side, there are costs with this that you're not counting into this. That's what I'm saying. Because you have to pay us firefighters in these months. We can call it a fire expense, but it's still. Cost over here that you're not talking about. It's a package deal, whether it's. She always does something. Okay, what's the problem? That's not your savings. No, it's not. It's not something.
Well, how to hit the fire, that fire.
Then you're gonna have.
That's what I'm saying. So it's not 35. You're not gonna have that clear. What's your saving on that? How are you gonna do it? You're not gonna be paying for something. Those are true savings.
All fell off the top.
You're counting the back as possible. It's still a cost, Kurt.
It's not the same cost. Our cost is different. Your guys' cost for each force is higher. Your guys' cost for work is higher.
You know what ours cost?
Oh my God. She guys, she's here as far. Okay, our rate's higher now because we
$2,300. Fine. What is it for you? It's not $35,000, which is zero on the fire side.
Okay.
No, it's not even privatized. If it's privatized, it's not like
That's back and forth.
your numbers are not lining up.
Okay. After discussion
Microphones.
with our,
People can't hear.
if everybody be quiet, you would be able to.
I'm here.
Okay, whoa, now can you hear me? Okay, after discussion with our legal advisor, since we just now got this, she advises us to take a little bit of time to digest this and maybe call a special meeting between now and what their demands are. I think, from what I see, and this is pretty generic, what I see, most of this could be taken care of pretty daggone quick. But, like she said, the devil's in the details. So we need to sit down with their people, not all of them, one or two, and discuss this and have a, do we have to have a special meeting to do that? Okay, well, that's called a special meeting. And go that route, I guess. But anyway, these, what they're calling demands, or requests, whatever you wanna call them, we just now saw. We need to look at this. And we'll have one more meeting as far as I'm concerned. That depends on the other two trustees if we wanna call a special meeting. Mr. Durham, how many times have we met since you said one more meeting? Let me have one more meeting. How many more meetings have we had?
Four times, four different venues.
That's what I thought. You asked for one more meeting, we said, okay, now here we are, still going.
And we met every requirement that we were told last time for this contract, including the prosecutor. Here we are yet again scheduling another meeting.
Your demands, not ours.
I'm talking about what he doesn't care about this stuff. This is between the fire department and the trustees that work on this paper.
It's questions and concerns we have to make sure it's right and it's the right thing for us. It's not demands. It's questions, concerns, and yes, conditions. Things that we know have to be in place for it to work. We don't want to discover later on that it doesn't work and have to come back.
I think we can do that.
And they
We're
said,
also exhausted
So are
from
we.
flushing the details out.
Let's
Because we've
get
been
over
doing
it.
most of the detail flushing. So,
and in answer to your question about one more meeting, we've had one more meeting for quite a while. I've been quiet for quite a while too, but I'm now allowed to speak up because we're talking about still working for you guys. I think the document that we passed out to everybody is pretty clear. We can have one more meetings until December the 5th. That's how long the one more meetings can go till we come to an agreement. We don't want to quit serving Belpre Township and Decatur. I hope that's clear to everybody in this room. But we can't go on like this. It's tearing the community apart. It's tearing the fire department apart. And quite honestly, I hope it's made you guys have some discomfort too, because this is terrible for our community. And we're at the end. We've done everything in good faith, and we've met every requirement that you guys put on us of not going 12 hours a day, going 24, cutting the wages to the employees, on and on and on. And some of the things that we've had to change was state mandate. That wasn't us. And we're asking to have a contract with you guys. And if we can work it out that way, we'll live with it. But we can't go any longer. We've got to have a decision. Thanks for letting
I
me
have a
speak.
question. For the last month, I believe, Allison and the trustees have been meeting, maybe just you two and Allison, to come to some agreement. Was there not a contract to be voted on tonight? Was that not the point of tonight's meeting? Was there not a contract in place to sign and vote on?
There have been drafts presented, yes.
So there's a lot of new conversation out of them tonight. What was on the table to be discussed and voted on tonight?
I don't.
We were going to vote on the contract tonight.
So we have a motion and a second, and we're gonna put that on the table, because I think this is legitimate. We need to go over it. I think there's a lot of stuff in here we can agree with and get right on board, because it's right like we've said. We want you guys to still maintain and do everything you've been doing in the past.
Can you repeat about the legitimacy? I didn't catch that.
There's stuff in here that's legitimate.
I think
mean,
aren't legitimate.
No. I mean, yeah. There's questions that's still gonna have to be answered, on both sides. And I mean, I think we can, like I said, I think we can sit down. I still think we can work that out. Because in the end result, we want what's best for the township and for you guys. We still want you guys doing everything that you've done in the past. And I still don't think we're that far apart after reading this, that we can't just sit down in a little bit and get it worked out.
We would love it if we did it tonight. If these are small things, why can't we get to it tonight? These guys, I can't do what Chris did because I would break down. He did a fantastic job voicing the opinion of our fire department.
Because, but this,
We just work together to try to get it solved tonight.
that's what we'd like to do. We'd like for us and the same amount of fire people meet and go through all this stuff and get it all worked out and be done.
Well, it's gotta be a public meeting. It's a public meeting. Then why not, you had to work down through the
We
list.
keep kicking the
There's
can.
a question there, how will the payroll financial report? Item number 1, discuss it.
Let's go.
Especially while the legal counsel.
Let me say that my advice to the trustees was to take some time to digest it. There's certainly nothing that prevents them from discussing it. But you saw when it was presented to them 5 minutes ago, they have not had an opportunity to review it. They have not had an opportunity to think about it. All of the other documents and agreements and contracts that we've been working on have taken a lot of thought and a lot of processing. So it's not practical, it's not reasonable, it's not fair to anybody to say, decide tonight or no. They need an opportunity to think about it. I don't believe.
We've been,
Sound like
but wait a minute, hold it,
Trustee
hold
Mason was giving
it.
the
Hold it.
agenda right before the meeting also.
No,
We've been, no,
I got it at noon.
no, I mailed them, emailed them.
and here's the thing, we've been 2 years on this.
Now, I'm talking about this document from the fire department, folks. They just got it. So they need an opportunity to think about it before they commit to a response. They can certainly start discussing it, nothing that prevents that. But my recommendation was that they take a little bit of time to think about it before they act upon it. But that's just a suggestion from their legal counsel.
If you guys want to discuss it, don't want to do it in a private, not a private meeting, but a special meeting, we can discuss it, Matt.
But honestly, I think what we want is to discuss it enough to where we can come to a successful conclusion to this. We'd like for this to be over tonight if we could be successful. But if we have to have a special meeting in a week or 2 weeks to get this to where we can make an agreement and have a working model, I think that's what we ought to do, and I support that. I don't support letting this go for more than the month. And we had to draw finally an end date on this. And
I agree, Mike, I don't want to drag it out to the next month.
okay, and we've been working 2 years on this, and
As soon as we could schedule another meeting, is going to be basically about 7 days.
okay, so I would like to see a commitment from you guys. Set a date, tell us when the special meeting is, and let's get this put in place and get it behind us. Before we get finished tonight, I'm asking you to let the community have an opportunity to speak on this, because they've got just as much in this as us, and they've got almost 1 year of tax money sitting in your bank account that we haven't used.
Yep.
And so they should have opportunity to talk.
They are at the end. When we
Okay.
get done with our meeting. I'm
Okay.
gonna, anybody wants to talk, and I'll stay here all night if they want to talk.
Okay, fair enough.
So can I make a proposal
So-
to you all?
So we're gonna have a special meeting on the 14th. Same time. 7 o'clock. Here at the fire station. To discuss this here.
And the lawyer names?
Hey, Allison, I have a question. Can ours, like maybe 2 or 3 of us as township employees, meet with you and one township trustee before, outside of a public meeting, to flush out some of these details before the public meeting?
Only if the trustees agree, and the board has to act as a whole.
I understand
So
that, but
ultimately, whatever discussions result has to still be run through a meeting.
no
whatever.
decisions, but at least they know if they need us to explain any of them. That way it's not dragging out in a
That's
minute.
what I would love to do, and then come in here next Monday and we'll make a vote.
That's fine. Somebody's gonna have to commit something to writing at some point. I mean, essentially, you're proposing new contract terms.
Allison, I have a question. Can the trustees pay their legal fee?
I'm not gonna answer that question right now. That's,
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
So do we have record in the minutes of previous agreement to help with our legal fees? That was done in a public meeting, at a township meeting, about a year ago.
All that, I was there, I don't recall it.
At a minimum, I think it's a fair request from the standpoint that we're executing a directive to pursue that private agreement. And now a decision, not on our own, is being made to go away from that to some other direction. I think it's at least a fair request to be made whole for the effort that was put in as we were asked.
That's one of the things I think that two of us, or two of you guys and one of us, that way it's not, we don't break the sunshine law, we meet with Allison and go through all that stuff. Go through this whole thing.
An information sharing session.
Exactly. And then we can come back next Monday, present it to them, what we've come up with, and we'll get a vote and get this thing done so we can move on.
Chairman, I make a petition just for folks that might not have been to all four of these meetings. Just the reason that Little Hockey Fire Rescue had to hire me to create this entity is that there's an Ohio Ethics Commission opinion which would prohibit the employees from negotiating a private contract with the trustees. So essentially, that's why I have been here. I'm going to suggest if the next special meeting is about whether or not you're negotiating these terms of their employment, they can do that on their own. I wouldn't necessarily have to be here. And if you don't go down that road and you decide to approve the contracts that are in front of you tonight, I still don't have to be here because they're already negotiated.
I made a motion to have a second. Let's have a special meeting. Was there a second?
We got a motion on the floor, I'm gonna rescind that motion now.
Yes.
All those in favor?
All right. I'll make a motion to have a special meeting on the 14th, 7 p.m. here at the fire station. Public.
Second. All those in favor?
All right. Then I'm going to assume it should be you and Josh meet with me.
I mean, the fire chief and us probably, if that's.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, yeah, the three of you.
Do you believe it would be appropriate? I think Allison should be there as well.
Well, yeah, that's what that's
Yeah,
what I was going to say.
Tell me where and when.
Yeah, when can you three?
I have a
Us meet.
supplemental question here. Is there a fire department budget also that matches this?
No, we never did anything. This is just an EMS. We didn't do anything fire because you guys hadn't presented really anything.
We just got these.
Yeah.
These
Yeah,
35.
we just got that 35 thing today, so we didn't do any. Yeah, it took us a while to get that stuff all done.
So where and when do you all wanna meet?
You said it would
Yeah, I know
be
you
there.
were here, so
I'll make myself available.
what's your schedule, Josh?
We can meet Friday.
Friday?
I can't do Friday,
Yeah, she's off. Better.
and I
Okay.
scheduled something, all right. Wouldn't mind, but I don't.
Monday.
Josh is chaperoning a trip to Washington D.C.
Oh, okay.
Eighth
That's
graders.
cool.
Sorry.
Can you do anytime Thursday, Josh? Or you work?
I don't know if we come back late.
Or when's your trip?
Tomorrow
Oh,
at 5:30 till Thursday.
oh, okay.
I could probably call in. I mean, we can have discussions on exactly.
What about a
in
weekend?
detail.
Yeah, I don't mind.
What about Saturday?
Oh, you can do weekend?
I don't mind.
I'm at 2:30.
Sunday.
Sunday, okay?
Yeah, where do you want to?
I was here like.
Yeah, this,
1 o'clock Sunday,
yeah, because you'd be coming from home, so you just want to meet here. Or we can meet at Baker.
either one's.
Yeah, we'll just meet at Baker.
What time was
Yeah,
it?
be quieter over there. In case they have a round or anything like that.
Okay, so the well, you're gonna.
What time?
1 o'clock Sunday?
1 o'clock on Sunday? Okay.
No, I don't think you need a, I mean, I don't think you need a motion.
It's information. Information.
1 o'clock Saturday.
1 o'clock Sunday at Baker.
I would think, I know we can't meet early in the week, but maybe we have some generic ideas of what we're saying. At least do some research on how we can address those things beforehand, maybe, I don't know.
This stuff here? Oh, yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, I'm gonna look into it. Yeah. Mike, Josh, Chris, and Alex. All right.
Hey, Kurt. My understanding there will be a contract in next Monday,
I don't think that was said.
at the next meeting.
We're gonna make a decision at the next meeting to make sure that we got something, whichever way it goes, whether it's to privatize and go with the contract or it's to do the House bill, follow the guidelines of the House Bill 77. We're gonna make a decision next Monday.
Can you explain to everyone that wasn't at the last meeting what House Bill 377 is?
So, spent about 2 hours on the phone with Jay Edmonds, talking about all this. So House Bill 377 come about because we're not the only entity in Ohio that has this problem. Every volunteer fire department is in the same boat that we're in. When they come to us 2 years ago, it was members. They don't have members to make the day shift run for the EMS squads. That's how we got on this track that we're on. So the legislation, seeing that this was not just a localized problem, it was a problem for the whole state of Ohio. So the problem we had with some of this in the beginning was insurance. So even though these employees would have been part-time, we was going to have to provide them with the same insurance that we provide our full-time employees. When we looked at that cost, 18 months ago, we was looking at around $24,000 a month just for their insurance. Me as a trustee, I'm not going to ask you to pay health insurance for a part-time employee. I don't think that's right. They don't, part-time employees don't get health insurance in any place that I know of employment. So that's when the legislation stepped in. And like I said, it wasn't us. It was all over the state of Ohio, all kind of having the same kind of problems. Volunteers are down. They're having to do a paid service. They're putting on fire levies. They're putting on, EMS levies. We're fortunate enough that all we put on was an EMS levy. We're not putting the fire levy on. We're still going to try to cover that out of our budget. So with that being said, the legislature got together and come up with to override the Obamacare Act. So the way the standard was before, a person could work 1,500 hours a year or 29 hours a week. And if they was under that, they didn't have to be paid health insurance. But the way our system is set up, being a public entity, we were still going to have to pay them health insurance. So this House bill changed that. So now they can work 1,970, I think it's 76 hours a year. And they actually designed a bill and it's just for, first responders, fire departments. They designed the bill specifically for that because a lot of these departments, like Josh works a 24-hour shift in Marietta. So this bill was designed around that. So those hours, when you do the math on it, a person can work what they're saying an average of 38 hours a week, 52 weeks a year. That keeps them under that 1,976 hours. So you don't have to provide that person health insurance because they're a part-time employee, is what they say. or they can work almost 7 24-hour shifts a month for a full year. And when you do the math on that, they could work those 7 days a month, 24-hour shifts. I figured it up the other day. It's like they can work seven days for 11 months, and then the 12th month they can only work 5 days at a 24-hour shift to fall under this hourly rate. So, and we knew nothing about this until the 1st of September. And then it went into effect the 27th of September. So that's why we come up with this. Yeah, I mean, I actually talked to the people that wrote the article. I talked to their attorney that wrote the article for probably an hour on the phone. So that's why we brought it up. Does that answer your question?
I have a copy of it. I mean, somebody can make a copy.
Okay. All right, but we're going to try to get on with the rest of our meeting. And then once we get our meeting done, we'll open it up.
Okay.
Before we do anything, yeah,
Anything else from
no,
legal?
no.
Sunday at 1 o'clock.
Thank you, Howard.
Thank you.
Right.
Before we go into anything, I want to get something out of it before we forget about it. Mike had contacted me after the last meeting, and you have a new fire department guy.
Yeah.
And
Justin Holbrook.
so I told him to go ahead and get their stuff ordered, so I want to make a motion to pay for his equipment. He said around 3,500. You think it's going
I
to be?
think it may be a little bit less than that, but
Okay.
prices are going crazy right now.
Yeah. Whatever it is, we want him out. So, Ace already seconded.
All those in favor?
All right. Those opposed? All right. I wanted to take care of that so we didn't forget about it. Nothing at the last. Old business, Ace.
Don't have any old business like that. Well, yes, I do. I got some signs on it. We had several street signs, I've got them ordered, just waiting on somebody to make.
Oh. Dan, old business?
Yes, I got back with Andrea Harmon from Deep's, Blue Trail Walters Insurance. You guys get the paperwork, I'll give it to you if you have it. It went up,
Yeah.
10%. She has checked them out for us. Mid-America is still the best for us. She recommended that's what we go with. That's what I will recommend you go with. She's got an application, Paula can sign, but we can get it done tonight. Last year we waited, and it was almost, it was New Year's Eve, I think, we finally got everything done. So we can get this done early and get it in, that'll be helpful. So I guess with that motion, move to pay the health insurance for the full-time employees, the elected officials, reimburse ASA on his insurance, and reimburse Paula and Kurt if they elect not to take the insurance for what the government said we're allowed to reimburse them for.
Yeah, that has to be.
It's going to be two.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, first motion is to pay insurances for elected officials and full-time employees. Okay, that's the first one.
All right, I got a second on that.
Yes.
Well, second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Second motion is to reimburse ACE for medicines and pay, if there is any insurance that we would have to pay for. It's a supplemental policy.
Second.
And the third one is to,
All vote aye.
oh, voted aye, I'm sorry. The third one is to reimburse Paula and Kurt for their insurance if they choose not to take the insurance, the amount that the state will let us pay, which is a big savings. It's a very big savings.
I'm gonna second that, but before we go any further, we'll have some discussion, well, not discussion. I just want to explain it to people. So since we have the right to have full coverage insurance like the employees do, the paid officials do, we found out last year that we could not take that, me and Paula, because we both have other insurance. This was a secondary insurance. So there again, we're looking any way we can to save the township money. So with us, by not taking the insurance, it's going to save the township combined $43,360 for the year for us to not take the insurance.
That after the reimbursement?
That's after the reimbursement, yes.
And the cost
Yeah.
for both of us is $57,814 for the year.
Yeah, if we
can get a.
Yeah, if we choose to go ahead and get the insurance that Dan has, and ASA has a supplemental policy, which is different than this, but the same policy that Mark and Kevin have and Dan would have, that's what the rate would be. It's a secondary insurance. We both have insurance coverage through our jobs. So when we found out we could actually reimburse this past year, we took advantage of it. So that way it saved last year. I don't remember what the figure exactly was, but it was probably somewhere $38,000 to $40,000 that it saved the township last year. So we got a motion in a second. Any more discussion? All right. All right, Dan.
I also talked to the lawn mowing guys. I told them we should be done by the 15th, so unless you guys have any objections, the 15th is your last pay period for the lawn mowing guys. If they're not done already, they may need to mulch some leaves up and stuff for Veterans Week here. And do we need anybody on standby for driving snowplow trucks, or are you going to do it in this year, Asa, or last year?
Well, as long as Mike is okay.
Well, I was meaning a third person when,
Well, he'd be the third.
when he does the small truck. If something happens to Mark or Kevin.
Well, yeah,
Is there anybody?
I'll cover something.
Okay, I didn't know what that is, so we're good for snow, I guess.
Well, if we needed a third, I know Roger Snyder would,
Can he? Okay, I didn't know if he was still.
he would do it as a backup, and
Okay.
he worked for the city all those years.
Maybe
Anything else?
let him know that he's on deck.
So old business. The first thing is I had was Airhead Road. It's paved. I don't think it's gonna last, but it is paved, and they are paying for that. We have to get the invoice together, and we're gonna send it to our prosecutor and have her send it to their attorney, but they have agreed to pay for it. And I don't know if anybody's been up to the old school property, but our contractor has got started on our new building. They got the foundation in, and they're working on getting it ready to pour the floor. That's all I had on old business.
Any potential completion date or anything, or just getting her done as he can?
Getting it done as fast as he can, because it's gotta wait. And we do so much work and they gotta come in and inspect,
Ah, okay.
and they gotta get it signed off on the. Okay, new business things.
I have a map that the Charlotte Powell gave me, it's a map of Cedarville Cemetery.
No one can hear you.
All right, can you hear me now? I have a map of Cedarville Cemetery that Charlotte Powell gave me, and it's going to be for the township to keep. It shows the graves up there and the people that's buried there that they know of. And she has proposed that they write a history of Cedarville Cemetery and the people that they know buried there. And she would like to have us commit some money to that book when they get it ready for printing. We did that with the Rockland Cemetery. Charlotte took a whole summer and walked that cemetery and wrote down all the names on all the stones and what section they were in, and they printed the book. We donated $2,000 for that, and we got 2 or 3 copies of that book, and it's really helped us a lot when it comes to finding graves for people who are doing genealogy, or if we want to bury somebody. That has helped out considerably. So I'm going to make a motion tonight that when they are prepared to print the book, when it's ready to go to printing, that we donate $2,000 toward that.
Second that. All right. New business thing.
Yeah, I need to transfer lot 555 and 2/3, space 3, from Clifford and Phyllis Walker to Camellia Beth Walker. And then I have a question that I haven't been asked for on, in Rockland. A person had asked me, they're wanting to buy spaces. And I don't know if you know where, in section 8, she calls it a garage. It's like a little mausoleum. It's Amos, and you go into section 8, there's like a big, looks like a casket laying on top of the ground. She was wondering if she could put one in. That one was done back in the 1950s. If they did it, it would take at least one space. The rules I've seen doesn't say that it can't. I wouldn't want to do it in an alleyway. But she used to come up around Thanksgiving and talk to me about it. We want to allow that or not allow it. It would have to be on top, you know, they're 40 by 80 inches that they get. I don't have any good. I didn't know. There's only one of them in the cemetery, so I didn't know if there were any problems. Grant. It is less, but then you got a weed eat around the whole thing, so it fix one half dozen another. So, okay. It just makes it hard for the mowing guys. Winter conference is January 25th, 26th, 27th for the High Township Association. I'd like for us to be able to go to that. Township pay for it.
Motion?
Is that a motion? Sure. Yes, that's my motion for lodging, mileage, and entrance ticket. Motion.
Second. All right.
I'm done.
Could I have one on new business if you guys are?
Yeah.
I just found this out. We've got a request for approval for $2,000 to have our Jaws of Life and our rescue tool. They have to be checked annually, estimates $2,000 to do it.
I'll make a motion to let them have their jaws of life inspected. All right. Anything else?
Thank you for that. That's it.
I think we covered everything. Oh, yes, I do want to talk about that. So another thing that we found out in the past couple weeks, the state of Ohio has a program called STAR. It's the State Treasury Asset Reserve. So us being a public entity, we can actually take the taxpayers' money, that we get, and we can put it in the STAR program. And to give you a little breakdown of it, it's guaranteed money. The state runs the whole thing, but it's an investment program. Our money can be accessible with the account that we would do in a 24-hour period. Right now, our money is all at People's Bank. And when I called the guy, our banker at the bank, and asked him about this program, he was real hesitant. He said he didn't know nothing about it. Kind of basically advised us to keep our money there, which they're paying us 0.2%, 0.20. Yeah, 0.25. After I mentioned this to him, they graciously raised it to 0.5%. At the time when I called him, we could get 3.09 through this STAR program. So to kind of put it in perspective, I've talked to the commissioners about it. They're doing it now. I talked to the treasurer. They've got $14 million that they had got in CARES Act money, or ARPA funds, and they're going to use it for the Debola Sewer Project. So they put that money into this account. They was actually, when they put it in, they was only getting like at the time, that rate was, she told me it was in there for just over a week, and they made $11,000. So this is something that we want to check into, because, I mean, we've got money there that's in the budget that we've already got, that we could take and invest and turn our tax dollars into more money, which would help the township out that much more. So I just wanted people to know that. And we're going to 3.0, well, it was 3.09 2 weeks ago. I don't know what the rate is now, but since the rates have went up again, I'm going to bet the rates went up more. Yeah. Yeah, so that was the September rate. Yeah. So there'll be a new rate now. So yeah, we're looking at every avenue we can to try to make money to help sustain everything that we have to do. And I think that was it. Mrs. Smith, do you have anything for us? All right. I'll make a motion to pay bills. All right. All right. So before we adjourn, I told everybody you have a chance to talk. We would like to limit it to 2 minutes so that everybody, if everybody wants to talk, they have a chance. So put your hand up.
I just got the STAR. I'm all for making more money. That's great. That extra money you make help pay legal fees. Fire department.
We got a pretty good budget here. I mean, we're fortunate in this township. You take the township beside us, they can even use the money, but they don't have a lot of money to invest, so it's a possibility. Yes. I mean, it's money that we wasn't counting on that we can make. I think we're foolish if we don't. It's just like anything, once they come out with something new, when you find out about it, you gotta do your due diligence, check it out and make sure it's all on the up and up and everything's right. And then if it is, then anybody else? Raise your hand. Again?
I believe it was the last meeting you were talking about Arrowhead Road. You said they won't fit 12 inches of concrete in
No, I said that's what we wanted them to do. That's what we want. They asked how they could fix the road and not have to mess with it again. That's how they could fix it and not have to do anything with it. They chose not to do that. Of course, 465,000 versus 44,000. And at first they wasn't going to do anything. So we just told them we're going to shut the road down. Now, would that have been very wise of us as trustees? Because that is a very highly traveled road? Absolutely not. But we was going to force their hand and make them, because they created the problem. And then they finally, their attorney, talking with our attorneys, and not Allison, but Nicole was the one handling that. And they finally decided that they really didn't want to shut their trucks down from going in. And they decided to pay. They didn't admit any guilt that they've done anything wrong, but yet they're paying for it.
Go home tonight, Kurt, and see the nice new bumps at the lower spot where they didn't repave already.
I already tried to get them to fix that. Those bumps was there before they fixed the first section. And they said, absolutely not. We're not spending any more money. I said, okay. I said, well, when it gets to the point that it's too bad for the public to drive on, you do realize the asphalt plant's going to be shut down. And if we got to shut the road down, we won't be back. Our prosecutor brought all that to their attention, and they did not want to do, because those was there, those come in about, I travel that road 3 to 4 times a day, as much as you do or more. And, yeah, those bumps have been there for probably maybe about 3 weeks. The one little, you can just barely feel it, but that's my job, build roads. So when I feel a bump, I know what it is. So I tried to get them to fix that when we did the other paving, but they absolutely refused and would not do it. So.
Hey, just the first thing, a question. Ace, earlier you put on the table a motion to operate per the House bill, and then Mr. Welcome seconded it. I didn't hear everything through the night. Has that been squashed?
I rescinded that motion when
Okay.
they decided to go ahead with their discussion.
Okay, and then another thing, Mr. Watts, you opened up the night, towards the beginning of the night, made a statement to everybody that your job and the reason you're elected is to make the decisions that you want to make, or that you feel is best. I think it's fundamentally false. We elect officials to speak as a voice, as one, for the citizens.
Correct.
We're only sitting here going on another night, and you guys are not voting on the already laid out proposal because of 2 people in this room. You might correct me if I'm wrong, but I bet you if everybody would raise their hands, they'd rather see you guys approve what's on the table than going back another day for your 2 agenda. I don't know what your 2 agendas in, but you're the only 2 sitting in this room. And I want you to remember, if these guys walk out and I lose my fire department on December 5th, that's your 2 legacy. Right? And I hope that everyone here and everyone in the 2 townships will join me in getting somehow on the ballot something to redact or recall this entire damn levy, if that happens.
Can I ask what township you live in?
I live in Decatur.
Okay. Well, so part of your statement is not right because we can't speak for your trustees.
I'm not only Decatur in here.
I'm speaking to you about what you said about your township. Mm-hmm. And to put that in perspective, we are elected by the people of the community. So I'm just going to throw this out here and you can Do with it whatever you please. This levy was passed, and I don't have anything against the levy. Only 10% of the voting public that could vote, that was registered, voted in that election. So you have 90% of the people that are still out there that have a say too. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that we're against the 10%.
I guarantee you after the last 2 years, there'd be a hell of a lot more than 10% voting to get rid of it.
10% is probably here in this room.
Probably.
But I'd like to speak for you too, sir.
Yes, sir.
Since this fire department started, since it was built, Decatur Township has got their service on the backs of the township taxpayers in Belpre Township. Decatur Township started out paying $500 a year. Then they went to $1,000 a year. Not too many years ago, we went up to $1,500 a year. So all the service that went to Decatur Township, one squad run would cost you that much money. So you've been riding on the backs of the taxpayers in Belpre Township. So don't come over here and complain to us about decisions that we got 4,000 people out here in this township that's paid taxes all these years to build this fire department to where it's at today. And you guys have sat out there and reaped the benefits because we were being generous. That's not going to happen anymore if I got anything to say about it. Because if you want to pay more money, we'll see if you do it.
My point's still the same, sir. We're sitting here and we're going another day because of 2 damn people sitting in this room. I bet you there would be no one shed a tear if you guys voted and approved what's already been worked on right now. I bet you'd get a cheer, you'd hear for miles. But we don't want to do that.
You don't want to give us a second chance to look at that?
You've had 14 chances.
We have not
14.
seen that.
That's it. That's enough.
We've not seen that. Don't tell me.
Is there anybody else has anything to say?
I just have a question. That with the House bill option, that there'd be $27,000 savings for the taxpayer. So in what form will that savings be? Will that be a reduction in millage next year or a refund?
It's a $27,000 saving to the township. No, that's not what I said. I said, no. I know what I said. I said to the township. No, I did not. Well, you'll have to play. Because it's to the township. So here's.
The levy's still the same.
Wait a minute. It's still taxpayer money. What I'm saying, it doesn't matter if they do it privatized or we do it privatized. The levy money from the both levies is not enough money to fund the EMS. We have to take money from the soft billing to fund the rest of the EMS. And it doesn't matter which program you use, whether you use theirs or you use ours. With ours, it's less money.
So they'll allow for more money to be spent on something else.
Yes, exactly. Out of that soft billing money is what. So here's kind of how it breaks down, because you guys didn't get that handout. She had just got it done today. So Josh and them got it, and I'll just kind of read you the bottom of it. So what she done, she took, when they give us the wages at the last meeting, 16, 17, and 18. When you average that number out to what's your number, it's 17. So that's the number she used. She figured it up with Medicare that we have to pay, OPER, so all these employees now will have a retirement, besides Social Security. Workers' comp. She's got an hourly cost. And then when you look at their hourly cost, it's actually cheaper than what ours is. We're at $19.97 an hour that we're going to be paying. They're going to pay $19.07 an hour. But then when you start adding the other costs in and get to the bottom, our total costs, because she did an average of what our insurance is for 3 years, what the fuel, what the medical supplies, what the self-billing is. And she's got a total for that. We got a total what it's gonna cost for, if you had 2 full-time employees for the whole year, working 24-hour shifts. We're $390,505.92.
The whole reason you were doing this because you have one full-time employee. How you have 2 full-time employees?
I got a question here for just clarification.
Okay.
Is there, so we had 80 second runs / backup if there's a cardiac arrest or something where we have to call in more people to go on an ambulance call. Is that accounted for in this?
I don't know that.
I don't see it anywhere, that's why I'm asking.
We didn't have an amount of people. I mean, we just based it on.
Right, so our
I mean, this was just an example.
This-
24.
well,
This-
I know, but
this
you're
was
using,
what-
you're using the
this
numbers.
was, well, wait a minute. This was what we voted on. These people in this room voted on as a levy. Was to man a squad here to cover that.
Right, but the law,
For 12 hours. Yeah, for a 12-hour shift during the day, and then it was, however it was going to be, you know, when we started, it was going to be volunteers at night, and then it was going to be a paid set at home, or however that worked out. It's changed a lot. So this is for 24 hours at the station.
so but during our investigation in this, you know, the legal teams, both legal teams, we found that we had to pay people equally if they're working the, you know, the primary truck or that backup truck. And so that's true. When we initially, you know, did this, we were discounting the primary truck, and we were going to have volunteers as a backup. Unfortunately, or you know, for budgetary reasons, we're going to have to pay someone for every hour worked here, whether they're the second truck or the primary. So what I'm saying is those 80 runs aren't accounted for in this. And then the other thing is, I understand this is all EMS, but we have 13 people that are dual certified. So if they're a EMS worker, then they have to be compensated on the fire side. And so that is a cost to the township. I understand it's not an EMS cost, but if you guys keep it under the umbrella of the township, then that is a cost that takes away from that $27,000 difference, because, you know, whether it's paid out of the EMS fund or the fire fund, it's still township money that it's going to cost.
That's all stuff that we're going to talk about.
Sure, yeah.
On Sunday.
I want everybody to understand that when they.
Yeah. So I was just going to tell him what the figures was. So in what they had was all the levy money plus an additional $75,000 out of the soft billing, which makes it $418,115. That's where the $27,609.08 comes from. Is the difference between the two numbers?
So the confusion was when you said
Yeah.
taxpayers.
Yeah. I don't think I did. I'm pretty sure I didn't say taxpayers. I think I said savings to the township.
Doesn't matter.
And if I said that it was a savings to the taxpayers, it still is a savings to the taxpayers, because if we're taking money out of anything, like he's saying, to pay for fire or whatever, out of fire district fund,
It's taxpayer.
it's all taxpayer money that we're taking in, other than the soft billing.
We're still gonna pay the same tax. We're not saving anything in our pocket. It'll just be spent on something else.
It'll be spent in the fire department, because soft billing money cannot be spent by us. So that $27,000 that we would be saving in soft billing will go into the fire department. It's not going to come into our pocket, because I know that's the way the soft billing was set up. Guy there in the hat had his hand up.
Yeah, sorry, building full support, fire department getting everything they want. But I do have a question here, because I don't, the implications of what they said is they didn't, so today's December the 5th. Okay, they didn't say they were going on strike. They didn't say they were taking a vacation. They were saying they resigned. So who answers the phone? So, I mean, we'll have to talk about that at some point or another. And I'm in full, and I don't want to say that I'm full support of everything they want, because they are volunteers, they're serving the community, God bless everyone for it. But they didn't say strike, they didn't say we're taking a vacation. They didn't say we're going to do this or threaten that. They said they resigned. So who answers the phone on December 6th?
You want to answer that?
I can answer that. If they decide to resign after, if they can't resolve these,
Not that you.
It's, yeah.
no, it's not gonna be me. It's gonna be Kurt and a couple firemen. They've gotta resolve, yes, we'll vote on it. And that'll be me. I'll get a vote. Now can I answer your question?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If they resign, we have a contract in hand, not signed, that another company, which would be Belpre, would be in here within 30 minutes. They will answer the
30
phone.
minutes is too late.
Was that negotiated behind closed doors?
And if you have a contract with Belpre, why can't we sign a contract that they work?
Because we don't want them to be down here if we can get everything solved here.
Right, but we've had, how long to get this?
Too long, I agree.
Exactly.
But it's not,
Represent
you
Belpre
keep
Township.
saying, you keep pointing the finger toward us. It's not always us. I don't know how many proposals we've had from the other side. I'm not gonna say the other side. I did say that, but I'll take that back. The proposals we've had have changed because some of the stuff we couldn't agree with, some of the stuff they couldn't agree with. It's been a back and forth, and we just have not reached any kind of an agreement. Now, I'm hoping we can do that. But if it comes to everybody walking out and going down the road, we're gonna have squad service. Just that simple. We're not gonna leave the township without coverage. And if the fire department guys work out, well, we're gonna have fire coverage. That's gonna happen. That's our duty to, if we don't have to furnish EMS, we do by law have to furnish fire coverage. And we will. And we will
You
do.
do have to provide it.
Do what?
I think with us paying for taxes, you do have to provide it.
Not by law. Anyway, I'm not gonna argue that.
Go ahead.
No, I don't think it, because you're making a story sound good by when you're saying you're gonna pay, you're gonna be paying, and that there's a retirement plan. That's only for EMS.
No,
There's a retirement plan, there would be a retirement plan for the volunteer firefighters as well.
yep,
The point that I think most people are missing is the only way this works is if we pay everybody. Because volunteers can't go both directions.
we'll no longer have a volunteer system here.
It won't be volunteer
fire or the
at all. It'll be paid all the way through. Everybody will get paid.
Where does that?
There's some details that have to be worked out, and hopefully they can get that done. Purdy and their representatives. They're gonna meet Sunday.
Go ahead.
We sat up there last month, and you neglected, you said you wanted to go and discuss it, you didn't have nothing to say. So, Dan and Asa, proposals was made, things was passed to fix the facilities and several different, the 24-hour shift. Guys voted on that, agreed to it. At the very end of the meeting, we all wasted 2 hours of our life. You said, oh, looky here, House bill. You just wasted a whole meeting right there. You wasted a whole meeting on stuff that you knew was going to end up like this.
I knew at the beginning of the meeting, but I had not read any of that stuff that they had.
Now,
I had no
at the end of the
drafts.
meeting when you brought that up, sir.
Right, that's what I'm saying. If you listen,
Yeah,
listen,
you
okay,
said
you, let me answer you.
All right.
So at the beginning of the meeting, I knew about the House Bill 377. You are correct. But, just like I said then, they wasn't talking about it. I knew about it. Dan, I don't think even knew about it, really. Asa probably knew about it, but really hadn't checked into it. I had checked into it just a little bit. From the time I found out, I hadn't had time to do much research at all. I had talked to the attorney that had wrote the article for the High Township Association. So me, as a good faith effort, why would I want to stall negotiations? If they could work out a contract at that time, great. At the end of that, they didn't have anything worked out any further. Both of the attorneys, their attorney said, we're gonna come back to another meeting and try to settle it. So that's when my opportunity was, because negotiations had paused. That's when I stepped up and said, okay, I want to propose this because they just passed the law. It wasn't that I wasted anybody's time. I was there letting them present their contracts. Well, then that would have just blowed everything up and they wouldn't have got anything accomplished. And they got stuff accomplished in that meeting that night, in that contract. But yet it wasn't finished. It wasn't finished. Huh?
When was the September meeting? Have you had a meeting every month?
Yes.
When was the September meeting?
Would have been
First Monday of the month.
the second Monday because of the,
Yeah.
it was the last Monday in August. We had to change the meeting because of the holiday.
You said you had it the first of September.
Well,
It would have been, wouldn't have been much better.
It would have been our September-
We'll hold off a little bit here and discuss this House bill, and then we'll go ahead, because I thought, man, everything's looking great. You guys agreed on this, you agreed on that, and something else, and then you're going to start working on contracts.
Okay, I didn't know when we had the meeting in August, I didn't know about the House bill. Knew nothing about it. I found out on the holiday, on Monday, the holiday, which we'd already had our September meeting. So the next meeting that we actually had was that time. We just don't sit down, the three of us or the four of us, and talk to work out something. We're not allowed to do that.
I know that, I understand.
So we discuss everything in a public meeting because we don't want somebody coming back and complaining that we have.
Let me say this, I was on this fire department for a while. Lisa, Mike, Dale, Bill, Jim,
Bill was,
back 30 years ago. We went through a lot together. And you sleep, eat, drink, and breathe fire department, EMS. And I just about bet what I got, if December 5th rolls around, and this isn't agreed on, your firefighters will still show up if that code goes on. Maybe they all won't, there'll be some come in here, because they're committed. I think you guys need to realize it. And if they want privatize this, I think you really have to go along, I think you have to really look at that before you just say, no, we're not gonna do it. Because I don't know how you can say you're gonna save $27,000 and pay a pension and waste all these other firefighters. I don't see how you can possibly do that. Maybe you can. I have my say, that's it.
I'm gonna ask a question. I think you guys maybe if you look at your soft billing numbers, I think you're way low on that number. It should be a lot higher.
What do you mean?
Your soft billing, I think your billing probably generates a lot more than $72,000.
It does.
Oh, okay.
It does. That's the part of the soft billing they request. Yeah. Yeah, our soft billing, the average of the soft billing is about $131,000 a year. That's what it averaged out over a 3-year period. And she did it like 3 years pre-COVID. During COVID, it still comes out within like a couple $100 of each other with the runs that we was making. You know, because before COVID, they was making 40% of our runs was in Dunham Township. When we no longer run to Dunham Township, then COVID hit. So their runs was still just as high. And of course, their runs have not slowed down, even after the big wave of COVID is over. So we're still, last we checked, we haven't checked that in a while, but the last we checked, we was still right on track within a few $100 year to date of being right on where we was back in 2017.
54 runs in October, all staffed by volunteer people.
Yep.
54 runs in one night.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, my dad is a founding member of this fire department, 1964, and he was on the Belpre Fire Department prior to that. And he has given his entire life. He's 88 years old, still going on fire runs, and he has done lots of stuff here at the fire department, countless hours, blood, sweat, and tears, and even broke his back off the roof one time helping this fire department. And this is very, it's just very stressful. for our family. Mike's been on the fire department for 40-some years. Josh has been on there since a teenager. My son-in-law's on the fire department now. My husband used to be on the fire department. I mean, this has been our family's life, all of my life, you know, the fire department. And this is just, when I come to these meetings, I haven't said anything. But I'm telling you, it's, like I said, they've had enough. And I just hope you consider this, you know, in the fire, especially my dad.
Yes, when did you accept the proposal from Belpre? 'Cause I don't remember seeing that in a public forum.
We've never accepted a proposal from Belpre.
We did not accept the proposal. I said we had a contract in hand, we could.
Then that's,
He received it.
I've never seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was the one that talked with us.
I have the contract in hand. The rest of them have not seen it.
Why?
I guess,
True.
I
Because
don't,
we're trying to work this thing out.
Right.
We're not gonna vote on that at all. But if worse comes to worse,
just wondered why one of the
Well,
trustees has.
Asa explained it when we was at St. Ambrose, because somebody asked the same question about the Belpre contract. And this is how Asa explained it, and I don't know how you could put it any plainer. Our job is to provide fire coverage to the township. We have to do that.
Not arguing that, I'm just wondering why.
So,
three has a contract.
okay, I'm getting to that. So they asked why Belpre was even, was asked. We was told in our June meeting, and we've been over this, that if we didn't work something out, they was walking. That was in June. So as Asa said, the reason he done that, he's not going to let the township and the residents of Belpre Township go without any lapse in coverage. If something does happen and we can't come to an agreement, he wants to be prepared. That's why he still has that and we don't have it. Because we don't want to go that route. We want to stay right here where we're at and work things out with these guys. That's the whole point of it. But Asa has been here for just as long as some of these other people. And the fact is, he's not going to let the township go without being covered. That's why that's happened. And that's why he says he had a contract
I guess,
that he had.
regardless of intent, it's still illegal to conduct business outside of public's eye. Regardless of intent. I asked you at the courthouse several months ago, Mr. Goring, if you conducted any business outside the public eye, and you said it was all rumor. I guess, Mr. Welch, is that your position?
What's that?
That it's all rumor that no business has been conducted outside the public eye?
No business. We've not made any decisions. Nothing. We've not made any decisions out of the public eye.
That's not what I asked.
there's not been any position. You're trying to stretch this into something that it's not. I didn't inform them of anything. I went up and talked to Dave Akram, who now has control of the.
That's business.
That is not business. It's getting information.
It's not, that's not business. That's information. Listen, you can, I mean, if our legal counsel was here, she would explain to you that that's not business.
You were given a physical binding contract that you could present.
You said it. Have a contract ready that if they do walk.
I have a contract that
So that's our business?
we can activate if we have to.
Is it not true that all four of you met with them at Belpre Fire Station?
That is true.
No,
I'm not gonna lie, there's no reason to lie. We are allowed
All three of
to
you just
gather
said-
information, and I wish our legal counsel was still here and she would tell you. We cannot make a decision. We cannot discuss it. All we got was information from them. We never got a contract. We never got anything. Now wait a minute. We didn't get a contract then. Later on, they contacted him with a contract. All we did was go there and get information. We never discussed
There
anything.
was no communication at all. You just sat there and they just.
We listened to what they proposed to us.
You didn't give them any questions prior to anything that you said, this is what we need to have in order for you to have this contract in our company.
They proposed something to us.
I have something to say. You sat up there and said that you're here to represent the township, correct? I think it's very clear what the township wants, so you're neglecting that duty and not representing them. You're representing your own agenda, you and Mr. Boring are. And Mr. Boring is the most unprofessional.
That's your opinion.
I had somebody tell me that Belpre's losing with some of their EMS people are quit because they're unhappy.
Couldn't
I'm
pay.
just concerned because if they are going to be here in 5 minutes, they may not have enough.
All right, is there anything else?
My concern as a resident is I feel like we're doing everything backwards. That we propose a levy, we put it on, we pass a levy, and then we change the rules of the game. We're going for 2024. I'm not against 24 coverage, without a doubt. But it puts us back into the wall. We worked for 2 years trying to get there, and then tonight we get a proposal and a second to vote on a whole new structure immediately. After 2 years of work, wouldn't we just put ourselves right back in the same spot going, we don't know how this works, we don't know how that works, we don't know how this works. When we spent 2 years trying to get it right, when we passed a levy that didn't meet what you guys originally wanted for, we okay, you said, hey, we really want 24-hour coverage, so let's go 24-hour coverage. I'm on board with that, totally on board with that. But we put ourselves in a bad spot by passing a levy that doesn't fund that out of it. So now we're trying to grasp it together, really going backwards. But we're going to go and vote on a new proposal instantly tonight to change everything. Well, wow, we haven't done any research on this other than we talked to the person who wrote the article. And that's the concern as a township resident. Wow, are we making decisions and backing up, trying to figure out how to fix those once we make them? Or should we make a decision on this is what the best path forward?
Well, this was brought up at the last meeting, and I didn't just talk to the attorney. I've been checking into this the whole entire month. I've talked to the head lady, I can't remember her name offhand, of the EMS at the state. I've talked to her about this, and it's a good program that they've put forward.
Good for townships, bad for people that you can work 38 hours a week, full time, and not even benefits. I think that's just personal.
Okay, well,
but I just know how fixes a need.
But that's the legislation, which we don't, we elect them people. They do the legislation. That we didn't do that. We don't have to follow what they did.
Did you work your job, you work all your life, 38 hours a week, with no pension, no health insurance? I'm asking you that question.
These gentlemen have pensions. They'll have pension. They won't have health insurance.
Okay, I'm asking you personally, would you work your job, you supported your family with your whole life for 38 hours a week without getting no insurance?
That would be a part-time position. I wouldn't be eligible for it.
2 hours less than full-time, and you're okay with it?
Listen, I didn't write the legislation. Yes, I didn't write the legislation.
I know, it's totally different being a public domain too.
Right.
Than a private job, so I kind of put you on the spot there.
Well,
but would you do that?
Okay, but no, nobody would.
No.
But the way most of this is designed, most of these fire departments and EMS, they work 24-hour shifts. And there's some kind of the guy kind of walked me through it, but it was more than what I wanted to listen to, about how they calculate out that 24-hour shift so that they're not into overtime. I don't know how that.
I mean, I shouldn't even say this because this is our nationwide thing. Our whole nationwide industry, corporate America wants everybody to work for nothing.
Right.
And want us all to be there. And at some points, people's got to stand up and say, we can't do that no more. Right.
Well, it was worse before they passed the legislation.
I'm sure. I mean, these guys done it for how many years? Yeah. Mike, I know for 32 years, and geez, they're doing it for free, a lot of it.
Well,
and a lot of them will do it
so
for free.
So to answer your question, they're not providing them insurance either. And the only retirement that they're giving them is just basic Social Security. We're going to provide them with overtime, which would be more pay than base Social Security.
It can be done.
But the original plan was to pay them more per hour to try to help offset that. But when we went to 24-hour coverage, we had to slash the wages down to make it very attractive for anyone to take the job. That's our concern with the fire department. It's just going to be really hard to fill it. Say, hey, you go to Chick-fil-A and it's this much money. but now you gotta do this and not have any benefits, and that's a concern long term, I think, to get staff.
But they do have some benefits. They do have retirement.
Yeah, but that doesn't put food on the table today to attract people.
Well,
Long term.
now, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but when this all started, this wasn't designed or presented to us as a full-time position. It was presented to us from our fire department is we want to get from other departments where they have a full-time job and then they come here and work shifts for us. This was never designed for a full-time job. Am I correct?
Correct, absolutely.
Okay. And that's still where we're at. It's not a full-time position, but yet now that this House bill has changed things, it's opened it up. So instead of us only being able to work that person 29 hours a week, they can work 38 hours a week. Now, granted, do you want to work 38 hours a week? But back to this was designed and set up, and what you guys proposed was strictly part-time positions. There was no full-time positions here.
Correct, but if it had a higher wage to attract it.
Paying the Social Security, so you can get your Social Security presence with another non-public employee instead of paying the OPER. So you'd be paying the Social Security here and OPER here. And
So a lot of your fire departments, EMS, are not getting Social Security now. They're getting PERS. They're either getting PERS or they're getting the police, fire, and whatever it is, retirement.
Correct.
A lot of them that is full time opt out of the Social Security. If they get into it young, they opt out of the Social Security.
A lot of the part-time will still pay Social Security.
Right. Yeah. So a lot of the full-time people, which is the people that you guys was trying to draw in, are not in Social Security anyways. So that benefit of paying them Social Security really is not going to help them. If we pay them first, that is going to help their retirement in the long run. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? All right.
I just have a quick thing.
Yeah.
So I'm Vince. I've been here 11 years. Grew up here. Families from here. Grandma, grandparents all working in school. If we go K-Fire, you have to have a 140 card. I already coached softball for all the girls north. I'm going because I don't have time to get another certification. Why I'm not a medic, because I don't have time to do it now. I travel for work. I go to Germany, Netherlands. We do farmer work. That's my job. So if you go K-Fire, as one of the youngest members of the department at 34, you lose me because of just circumstances. It's not because I want to go, it's because I don't have a choice. That's all.
Jim? Jim? Why paid fire? When they got their ethics ruling back, if we haven't, if we pay EMS, now if we had two separate things and they didn't dual purpose, which the whole reason was not to do that because they want to retain the people that they have. They have a lot of people that have EMS and fire. But when they got their ethic ruling back, they have to pay both. If we did that. Jimmy, you'd raise your hand a couple times.
Which is all over with. You know, I've been a firefighter myself for 30 years. I've had an accident here, but I'm still messing with the guys. You know, I appreciate what Mike, Josh, all these guys so happy are doing. That means a lot to me. I come from a family of family. These guys are my family. You know, I appreciate every one of these guys. They put a lot of hours into them. They're working very hard to get this thing straightened out. I like to see them like it. You know, like I say, it's my family. They take care of me many a time. And I appreciate every single one of these guys here.
We all want to see them make it.
Does this department receive the levy money from Decatur Township? They voted on.
They haven't yet.
But they
Decatur
will,
still
right?
hasn't. Yeah.
So it'll be more than $500 a year.
I can't speak for Decatur. Because that's a whole other issue. You know, more than likely Decatur's going to fall in line with what we do. But they may, listen, we may work something out with our guys. And Sunday we get it all worked out. And they go to the Decatur meeting and the Decatur guys could say, we're not going to do that. We're going to go with Wesley Township to give us our EMS service. we can't, I can't say that that they're gonna get your money. That's not up to me.
You pretty well know they're gonna go with Little Hawking, because they said in the meeting, I don't know which one it was, I was on all of them. And I'm just saying, what does that money, how much money is that they would be, you would be receiving from the levy from Decatur Township?
First of all, we won't receive their money.
Yeah, they'll receive their money.
Won't go into our, it'll go directly to whoever they use for emergency EMS services. We won't be able to collect their money at all.
So they would pay a little hot fire.
It's about $80,000.
But it is.
It's around 80,000.
So it's more than $500 or $1,500 a year.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
so it's
only
a lot
for
of money,
EMS.
so
But
we
it's only
get
for,
Waystar
but it's only for EMS.
Yeah,
That
and
might
that,
go in.
we have Little Hawking right now. That's
Yes.
enough. And so, that's why we voted on the
actually
levy,
for
because
free.
we voted on these people.
Yeah.
Because we know them and they've been there.
Right, but actually, your coverage right now is for free, because the $1,500 that they paid, they haven't paid. We haven't asked them for it.
Get on and make them pay it.
And
We voted for
there
it.
there again, I mean, and not to say you guys haven't paid money, that money is paid in and it's in their account.
Yeah.
You know, they could actually take that money, put it in the STARS program and gain 2 weeks or a month's worth of, interest on that money if they wanted to. It's their money that you
But
people
don't they
pay.
have to, since it was, the levy was up for Decatur, and Decatur people voted for it, don't they have an obligation to give that money to the levy? I mean, it goes to the levy, but doesn't it go to the people that come to pick us up? Or if they have a fire or something else, doesn't it come?
Right, once it's a contract in place.
Okay.
Right now, it's in, Tracy's got it in her bank account. I mean, it's just like my money.
Okay.
Our money is, that we've taken in is in the bank account, drawing interest. Nothing's been done with it besides the tax collection.
And I don't think they changed things because there's really too many volunteers from Decatur
Yeah,
that
but I
don't
can't,
man this place.
right,
Yeah.
but I can't speak for them. I can't say that is what they're gonna do with their money, because I don't know.
Oh, I know, but
That's their decision.
we pretty well
Right.
see it right on the wall.
You raised your hand there.
Yes. Is this House bill designed to be permanent in nature?
Yes.
Or is it a temporary stopgap?
It's designed to be permanent in nature, and they have other stuff that they're working on now. Like I said, I spent about 2 hours on the phone with Jay Edwards. He's our state representative, and that's his, his job. I'm a constituent of his, just like you guys. That, when I got a question, I want answers. And Jay is excellent when it comes to that. He'll walk you through it all. They're working on other things right now to try to help this stuff even more. It don't have to do with that bill, but there's all kind of other different House bills that they're trying to pass. And it's all based around fire, EMS, first responders stuff. Yep.
So on the fire coverage comes through, Dave Akron would be the one you talk to. But he's not actually, he's a Belpre EMS. He has nothing to do with actually Belpre Fire. That would be the city of Belpre. Do you have something in place with the city of Belpre for their volunteer firemen to come in, or just Dave and his EMS people that all put up the fire?
I have a verbal agreement with Tony Cronin.
All right.
And what I started to say a little while ago, and I got interrupted. When I went up and talked with Dave, nobody else knew that I was going to go up there and talk to him. I went up there and talked to him to get some information. And that's when he said, here's what we can do.
He's chosen to take that and try to ruin our fire department by sowing distrust and rumors. So just know that's who you're dealing with from our perspective. We're trying to work with
I'm not hearing all
trying
this.
to work against us.
Well,
Next time you talk
so-
to Tony, ask him how him and Dave get along.
Well, listen, I will get back to where I started the whole meeting. We don't want any of that. We want to stay right here with you guys. We don't want to change any of that.
Right, Kurt, you don't want any of that down there.
We want to stay right here.
I'm from Belpre Fire Department.
Thank you.
We've got the best department.
You don't want any of that part down there.
I know, we've got the best department. We don't want to change anything. We want you guys to keep control of it.
With your contact or your information get through that, say you've got some fire chief and EMS, is that approved by their city council and their mayor? Do they have input on that? Or is that their city fire department separate entity from their city council?
Well,
You know, you see what I'm saying?
Right.
Because you said, yes, we'll have it, but is that approved just by their fire chief and or EMS chief saying we'll cover it? Or is that approved by their city council and or mayor?
Can I answer your question now?
I hope.
The safety service director was in the same meeting with myself and Tony. And he said those things.
He was in.
Just me.
That sounds like a public meeting case.
You don't understand. You don't even want to try to understand. I told you once before, you're in Belpre Township meeting, but you're a Decatur Township resident. I know this gentleman said I'm pretty rude, and I'm not very professional, but I'll tell you what I think. And if you don't like that, that's just fine.
All right, was there any?
Paul, I wasn't trying to be mean to you.
That's not an insult. And here's why, because everybody, taxpayers around this country, everybody in this United States, dollars go somewhere else. You know, so if the Decatur Townships go here, go there, or to say just because they're not in Belpre Township is a terrible insult. Because our taxpayer money, federal goes overseas and everywhere else so just, that's a terrible rejection and insult to these guys in Decatur Township.
It's our millage for this, the same as Belpre's. So we don't have really no choice for it. I'm the Decatur Township resident.
That's fine. I don't have a problem with that.
But I mean, several times you said that though. I mean, about Decatur. I mean, and I know you don't have no input about what Decatur does with their money. That I weren't here.
Well, I do. I own township property.
I know you do. I know, but what I'm saying, you as a Belpre trustee don't have any input. What Decatur trustees do with their money. But they is. I want to ask a quick question. You said $500, then it's got up to $1,500. Whether they made it yet or not, is what you haven't asked for. Is that because that's what you guys have told them that you take from them?
Right.
Okay, but our tax millage still goes somewhere. The exact same amount that Belpre Township people pay goes for EMS service. Whoever Decatur trustees choose to get it from.
And right now, we get it from.
Okay,
Right, once you pass the levy, they didn't have any funds.
Right.
They didn't have any inside millage.
I mean, what?
Yeah, we've taken part of our inside
What
millage.
is there in Decatur Township that's going to bring in any funds?
Right.
Besides people that own property.
Exactly. Yeah, so
Have a
years ago, they took inside millage from the township to fund the fire department. And that's how it was all funded up until the EMS stuff all come about. And then when the soft billing all started, and then that's kind of how the fire department has basically survived, because our inside millage isn't enough to fund everything that they've got here.
Right.
That they've earned a lot of the stuff that's here because of the squad runs that they did in the soft billing.
Right.
All right, motion to adjourn.
Oh. On page 2 of what the fire department handed out this evening, and I heard the prosecutor's office disagree with the first sentence on it. She said that you guys were not advised by your legal counsel to privatization. How did these guys get that information? And they can answer too. I mean, I'm throwing it to the floor. I want to know how there was such a big disagreement. They spent 2 years talking about privatization.
No.
Go ahead. I'll try to answer that for you because none of us knew. When they got into this, we didn't know that they could have paid EMS and volunteer firemen out of the same group. That became, from their lawyer, that became an ethics problem. they went to the Ohio Ethics Commission to get a ruling on that. And the Ohio Ethics Commission said you can't be a volunteer and paid for the same job, basically. So that's what threw everything into a tank for a good while. And then they came up with the idea that if we privatize, I think their attorney told them that if they privatize, they could get around that ethics commission ruling. So that's what that's all about.
But we had, when this all started, it wasn't privatized.
Right.
That come about later on, when the health insurance come into play. When Nicole told us that we had to provide them guys, the part-time people, health insurance. So that was when we started trying to say, well, wait a minute, we've done past the levy, we can't afford $24,000 a month for health insurance for part-time employees. We just couldn't do it.
Take the whole levy.
Yeah, I mean, it would take the whole levy just to pay their health insurance, not pay any salary.
I'm gonna get you, I heard you say earlier, Kurt, that you didn't know of any companies that pay part-time employees health insurance.
That I know of.
Right, and I'm gonna start naming some.
Okay.
See if any of these sound more or less important.
Are they public entities?
They are private entities.
Yeah. Okay, that's different than us.
Okay, that's not what you said, but okay.
Well, okay.
See what's more important, fire department or Starbucks? Starbucks, after you've worked 240 work hours over the course of 3 months. Once you start working 20 hours a week, you get health insurance. Amazon pays health insurance if you're scheduled 20 or more hours a week. I'm not talking about 38, I'm talking about 20. Walmart, 24 hours for a week in some situations. I'm sure that's maybe not everybody, but because I know people that work at Walmart. Lowe's, Costco, IKEA, UPS, Delta, Chipotle, REI, Whole Foods Market, Staples, JP Morgan Chase, Aerotech, Trader Joe's, Macy's. The list goes on. I'm telling you that if you want to make this job attractive, if you want this township to be successful in supporting itself, then you may have to open your mind up to different kinds of funding than the last levy. It may be another levy. I don't know what it'll be, but to say that, I know it was early in the evening, and I won't quote it.
You can't. I mean, but all the companies you read off are multi-billion-dollar companies.
Okay. Okay.
That's totally different than us. We're a public entity.
Privatization is privatization.
We're a public entity funded by tax dollars. We only got so much tax dollars. I can't go out.
They were mandated on October 9th to go private.
Listen, I can't go out and say, okay, well, guess what? Now, instead of you only getting soft billed for your run, I'm going to hard bill you for your squad run. That's not what we want to do. But that's what you're trying to put us in that category as a for-profit business. We're not for-profit. That's a for-profit business. When their margins go down or they need to hire employees, they offer incentives like that. We don't have that luxury because we're working with a limited amount of funds. We're a totally different entity than what you described right there.
Okay. They are too.
But they're not offering health insurance. I know.
Yeah, they're not offering health insurance or retirement. Just a small bit of Social
Not
Security.
right now. And I don't know what's in the contract that's in ACE's hand. No one knows.
I'd like
Except ACE.
to provide a point of clarification, please, briefly, because it is important, because these are complex issues, to what Ace said. The directive to privatize started with privatization of EMS services on October 9th. The privatization of the fire services came about as a result of the ethics decision.
Right, correct.
So just a point of clarification to that. Thank you.
Just to clarify something else, the meeting that all four of you were in, you admitted a little bit ago, is that the same meeting with the safety service director?
And it wasn't a meeting. A meeting would be if we're back and forth like we are. All we did was listen to information, which we are allowed to do by law. If anybody don't believe that, you can contact your guy's attorney and ask him if that's okay by the Sunshine Law. Perfectly legal.
And when talking about the privatization and who's gonna play, and I think I remember Mike had said it was in the minutes, I don't know if it was or not, Nicole Coyle was at Baker, somewhere in the talking of all of this, it was brought up, I don't know if it was, sometimes there's small talk during the meeting, that she had said it is available for the attorney fees to be paid out of the levy funds. I don't know if that was in the minutes. I don't know if it was small talk, sometimes.
That was a comment during the meeting.
Okay, but I don't know if it was in the minutes, but that was what she had said, that within the levy, the way the levies are set up, they are set up so that the organization that takes over can pay their attorney fees out of that fund. That's why I asked her if we are allowed to pay for it, because we can't pay for it out of that fund. I don't know if we pay for it out of rescue fund. But that was what Nicole had said. If you guys privatize, that's how they could be paid. I believe that's what she said.
I don't believe there was ever a motion or a second or anything like that that said that. I've been through almost all the minutes. There's a couple sets of minutes I didn't have.
I don't.
But I don't know where they went.
It wouldn't have been a motion. It would have just been, like I say,
Like a
sometimes
discussion.
when things get going on and they talk in the.
Okay. All right, I'm going to entertain a motion to adjourn.